This is Coach Chris Holtman. You're listening to Drive the Lane podcast.
All right, Drive the Lane podcast. We know it's the football off season, but we had to do a special episode for you. Hint, hint, wink, wink, because we have a couple of Ohio State specialists join the show. Former Buckeye and national champion kicker Sean Nuernberger, and current punter, you may remember him from his greatest hits, such as proposing during the spring game, flipping water bottles, and completing one of the most important passes of the season against Wisconsin, Drue Chrisman. They are both on the show. 2 awesome interviews with them. And of course, our sponsor, High Street Tees, has created an awesome shirt for us, for you to buy. Head on over to highstreettees.com/DTL and use our promo code DTL15. That's going to get you 15% off your entire order, not just on our shirts. The entire order. They have awesome gear. They got Threes gear, Mama's Passing Brew, Buckeye Donuts, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 8s. They got it all. And of course, we would love for you to buy the Drive the Lane shirts, because that's what would warm our hearts the most. And Valentine's Day is coming up. So if you have a loved one who loves us, get them a Drive the Lane shirt. highstreettees.com/DTL. Promo code DTL15. Buckle up. And let's drive the lane with some specialists.
Okay. As Andrew said in the intro, we are back. Not only are we back, we have some awesome interviews with a couple of specialists. And before we get into that, we talked about our T-shirts. You know what our next T-shirt is going to be? It's going to be all right, because that's how we start every single episode by accident. We don't even talk about that, but
We both do it. All right.
that's why I specifically said okay this time. But anyway, please buy our shirts. It would be so great. And like Andrew said, if you got a loved one, what says I love you more than a Drive the Lane T-shirt? Even if they don't listen to Drive the Lane, what's that? Nothing says that. But in honor of this episode where we're interviewing specialists, we're going to talk about, and also me being a walk-on, we're going to talk about some of the more underappreciated roles in life, but specifically in sports. And I'd like to kick it off with, first and foremost, the most unforgiveful, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for?
Easily forgotten person.
No, but that's...
Say it and then I'll come up
Thankless.
with the word. Thankless.
God.
Thankless job.
The most thankless job in sports is an offensive lineman. 100%. It is.
I don't know if it's number one.
It is number one. You want to know why? Because when everything's going good, do you ever hear them being like, a few times you'll hear, man, that guy is doing a great job blocking. But if something goes wrong, it's like, wow, the offensive line stinks. They stink, fire them all.
Let me tell you why I disagree with you. Because I'm a Browns fan, and for 10 years, Joe Thomas was announced last during starting lineups. Joe Thomas was the face of the team. So it's hard for me to agree that he had a thankless job, because he was the best player on the team for 10 years.
That's why I said there are
exceptions.
But you flip the script. Defensive ends are the most thankful job, because when do you ever say, like, they're not getting any pressure on the quarterback? Like, you don't really ever say that. But then if they sack someone, suddenly they're the most, they're the greatest players to ever play the game. So that's where I'd like to start this off.
I got a good one too.
Because me and my dad talk about that all the time.
I got a good one too. Football players and football coaches win games. Basketball players, basketball coaches. I think an underappreciated aspect of college sports is the athletic director and their staff. Everything that goes into creating a schedule.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, think about this. There's Ohio State games that are already scheduled for 2029.
Oh, yeah. No, I would like to give a shout-out to David Egelhoff, who does all that for Ohio State basketball.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule makers, all those people who are you may think, oh, why wouldn't Ohio State and Oklahoma play? No, there's some work that goes into making sure that happens to start the season, and that is a thankless job. No one's like, wow, shout out Gene Smith for making that home and home happen. You don't hear that.
No, you're spot on. I think it's not fair. I think Gene Smith would say the same thing. He'd say, yeah, I get a lot of the credit, but it's because I have a team of 25 people helping me out with everything I do, and they don't get enough love. That's the same thing can be said for managers. I mean, managers for football, they do a lot. They are the refs, and they are they're the guys that are wearing the ref shirts. I don't know if they're doing much reffing, but they're in charge of getting the balls and getting everything set up. Just like in basketball, it's the same thing. These guys are there at the gym just as long as we are, and they do such a great job that we've even talked about behind the scenes having a manager episode because they need more love. We like to do these. We like to do these episodes. We got a specials episode. We've had walk-on episodes. It's just
we're different here. On the Drive the
we're
Lane.
just different.
We're built different.
I think beyond walk-ons, because it's not overplayed because it is the truth that it is a thankless job. Managers, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Jay Bills tweets about it all the time. They are the hardest working people in college basketball, and it's not even close. They, coaches work insanely hard, but they get paid very handsomely. Managers get diddly squat. So
Joey, I'm going to give a little shout-out to you. Scout team can sometimes be underappreciated because not only do you need to know your own team's plays in case you're put in practice, you have to learn the other team's plays to perfection.
Now you're talking my language.
So I think scout team is underappreciated.
I remember just a story about that. I remember, holy moly, going into a game. I'll give a two-part story to this. There was one time where I went to a game. We would never call plays. When I was in at the end of the game because it was probably only a couple minutes, and we would just run our motion offense, and we would get shots up that way, and yada, yada, yada. But there was one game where I had worked out very, very, very hard with the other walk-ons before the game because we did that on occasion to stay in shape because we weren't getting the playing time as everyone else. And I ended up playing 7 minutes in that game after doing one of the hardest conditioning workouts I've ever done. And I didn't score, which I usually scored when I got in there. And when I got into the locker room, our strength coach was making fun of me for not scoring. And in front of the whole team, I was like, Q, if I didn't have to do 90 sets of VersaClimber this afternoon, I would have been fine. So talk about a thankless job. People probably got on me about not scoring that game. Well, I did a full work off-season conditioning workout and then played 8 minutes in a college basketball game. I mean, that's not supposed to happen in the same day.
I think at other schools, this could be underappreciated, but definitely not at almost at Mizzou. Definitely not at Ohio State is the
Mizzou.
wide receiver coach position because Brian Hartline is the best in the business, and he is appreciated by everyone. But I think at other schools, they may not realize how important position coaches really could be. You may hear something stupid like, oh, the new head coach is bringing the Auburn linebackers coach to now be the defensive assistant, and you're like, oh, whatever, that doesn't mean anything. But those assistant coaches in both sports, but really in football when there's like 50 of them.
Oh, yeah, and they're all great recruiters.
Super duper important.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think at Ohio State, obviously, those are the elite of the elite, and they could be offensive or defensive coordinators anywhere. And then they choose to be a part of something bigger than that and go to Ohio State. I mean, that's a big deal. I think that assistant coaches in general, whether it's a position coach or just an assistant, it's ridiculous how much time and effort they put in as a college coach in terms of recruiting, cutting up film, diagramming plays, figuring out the offensive defensive game plan. Like that is all done by the coaches, and the head coach is basically, at least for basketball, the head coach is the czar of it all. They make sure they're the godfather. They make sure that everything is going the way they want it to go, but they might not have their fingerprints all over it. That's all the assistant coaches. So
often underappreciated in the podcast world is definitely the producers
and the interns.
The producers and the interns. So intern Jack.
No.
While he's no longer
he's not
serving for us,
yeah.
he was. We very much appreciate.
It was a great run, Jack.
And the producer does a great job for this show.
Yeah, we should probably get him on the mic. You'd think he'd be better than Andrew, but yeah.
He's great behind the scenes with producing and adding in like fun little things like the Mr. Owl. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop before John Diebler 3 episode? That was pretty smart. Whoever came up with that, and then. Of course,
2, 3.
Another underappreciated position is the refs.
No,
They work so
stop.
hard. I'm just kidding.
I will say, talk about a thankless job. You never hear the officials are doing awesome today.
Except Dockage. I feel like Dockage will definitely give a classic.
You
know who's actually done a great job tonight is these officials.
Yeah, but that's sarcastic. And
he would be the guy to be like, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the officials have actually done a great job.
Well, the truth of the matter is there are plenty of times where the officials, like, they make the right call and it's being reviewed, and that's when the analyst might say, you know, this has been a great crew, or the classic at beginning of games is, we got a veteran crew tonight. Expect a well-called game. We have a veteran crew tonight. We shouldn't bash refs. I like refs.
We need to have a ref on.
We do need to have a ref on. That's great. But I don't dislike refs, because my relationship with refs was very positive, because I was never coming at them for anything. And they probably respected the position I was in and stuff. But some of the funniest thing was seeing certain refs, like, for example, Sean Tate. There were refs that were just out to get him. I mean, it was just the simplest way to put it is they were just out to get him.
Keita has that right now.
Does he?
A little bit. Maybe not out to get him, but like you said the other day, he's horribly officiated.
Well,
but that's different.
Oh, Caleb, not Keita. I thought you said Keita.
Oh, I meant to say Caleb.
Yeah.
Freudian slip with some Ohio State grades start with K.
Yeah. Yes, I think
threw you off guard. Sorry.
I don't. Yeah, it's okay. Caleb does. That's not. They're out to get Caleb. They just. There's not very many people like Caleb, and I don't know. He still gets so poorly officiated. It hurts. But
I think refs are out to get Russell Westbrook. That's a good one.
You think so?
That's a good one. Yeah. I think they're quick to and like Draymond and those guys. Even though they have like a big leash, they still are quick to get teed up.
Yeah. I think that the perfect example is JT, because there were certain refs where Sean Tate would, they were just out to get him. I don't know how else to put it. But anyway, I think we need to move on to a topic that I texted Andrew about. And all he has to do is tell me to stop, and I'll stop. But
no, I want to debate you on this, so go ahead.
I think, and this is stealing something straight from Barstool, I think that Joey Lane, there's not a single person on the planet that could beat me in every single sport. Interpret that the way you want to. There's no way.
That's not what you said earlier.
That is what I said.
Earlier you said there's not one person who would be the best at everything.
That's not the way I meant for it to be interpreted.
Well, I think Michael Jordan would beat you at every sport.
No chance. You think he's a faster swimmer than me?
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think he'd beat me in every single sport. You think he can kick a field goal better than I can?
Well, that's not a sport.
Why not?
That's a one athletic feat.
I'm just saying. Michael Jordan is the only person that I can think of that has a chance.
But that's like saying you could throw a football further than a kicker, but you're not a better football player than a kicker.
Yeah, no, that's not the. But that's not.
Saying that Michael Jordan could kick a.
Well, football's a weird sport because there's so many things that go into football. But like basketball, obviously he's beating me at basketball. He's probably beating me at golf too. He's probably beating me in. You think he's better than me at tennis? Like, you think he plays a lot of tennis?
I don't know.
Ping pong?
I think you're underestimating.
No,
these athletes.
I'm not underestimating them because I understand. But I'm just saying, like, hey man, for whatever it's worth.
I'm trying to think of like LeBron's probably beating you in a race in swimming. LeBron's probably beating you in a swimming race.
Yeah.
LeBron might know how to play tennis.
He's not better than me at golf. No chance. Okay. Have you ever seen him golf? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, we've now named Michael Jordan but you know that there's
like Steph Curry is a guy that Steph Curry and LeBron are the two guys that I think of just because my go-to after basketball as an athlete is probably golf, just in terms of sports that I like.
I mean, Steph would beat you in every sport.
You don't know that though. You think he's better than me than ping pong?
Well, we'll never know any of this. So that's not like ping pong's not a sport. That's like a little
table tennis is an Olympic sport. What are you talking about?
I think Steph Curry would beat you in ping pong, and I think there's plenty of athletes that would beat you in every single sport. Plenty. Like baseball players that like are very well coordinated with their like baseball eye contact. that also played like basketball too. I think they could beat you one-on-one in every sport.
I don't think so.
Who are some baseball players that played basketball too?
It's so random. I don't know.
Like I think Ezekiel Elliott would probably beat you in every sport.
No, he wouldn't. No way he can golf better than me.
He might
no way
be
he can beat
able
me in
to.
ping pong.
It's
No
so
chance.
stupid. This
It's
is
not
so
stupid. There are
It is
so many
stupid.
sports. There's no way he can beat me at every single one of them.
Like
No way.
darts, maybe
Yeah,
not. But like,
exactly.
who
Exactly.
cares?
No, it's not a who cares. We're discussing this now.
I think it's stupid.
It's not stupid.
Well then, I think there's no one that can beat anyone. Then
I don't know.
if you're saying that.
Nancy Lane, my mom.
She might beat you in one of your random fake sports that
No,
you're coming up with right
no,
now.
but I'm
like
sa-
maybe box hockey. Your mom would beat you at.
Box hockey's not.
That's
a sport.
it's an Olympic sport.
You're just making that up.
You are literally making your like
Table tennis was made up.
Ping pong. I don't think would fall into the category of sports.
No, all right.
That
This is
Steph
all right.
Curry would be
Well,
eligible
let's get
to
into our
beat you in.
interviews. It's ridiculous that you don't think table tennis is a sport. It's in the Olympics, dude.
I don't.
What's
I
the
don't
difference
know.
between table tennis and golf?
Yeah, I mean,
Box hockey's made up. Table tennis is
yeah.
real.
Okay, but I still think there are athletes out there because we've named 4. So I still think of the 800 million still left that could beat you in every sport.
800 million?
Yeah, all time.
Oh my god. No, you think Zach LaVine can beat me in baseball?
I got one. Steve Nash beats you in every sport.
That's good does he golf? We don't know.
Steve Nash beats you in every sport.
Definitely beats me in soccer and basketball and
Every sport. He's
But-
probably good at tennis. Probably good at ping pong.
But does he golf?
I don't know. Let me
That
Google.
matters.
Let me Google Steve Nash
Golf is a big one.
Tony Romo beats you in every sport.
Tony Romo, that's a good one.
Tony Romo beats you in every sport.
I don't know though. Just don't know.
Tony Romo beats you in every sport for sure.
No, but you don't know. He might not be a great swimmer.
Are
he might
you
be,
a good swimmer?
I'm not a bad swimmer.
I don't think you're a good swimmer. You've never swam. I don't think that's
Sorry,
like,
we've never
When's
swam
the last
together.
time you swam laps?
I don't know.
Ever?
When's the last time Tony Romo slam laps?
I don't know. I am if I knew neither of your swimming backgrounds,
Tony Romo went to Eastern Illinois.
If I
went to Ohio State.
If I knew neither of your swimming backgrounds, I would put money on Tony Romo.
Hey, that's your mistake. You'd win more money because I'd
Definitely.
be plus in the odds.
Definitely would put.
You would have to bet 25 to win 20. For me, you could bet 25 to win 30.
Tony Romo would beat you in every sport.
No.
I don't know if Steve Nash is good at golf. Have not checked on that.
Can you guys hear
My mom's
Andrew's mom
cracking up.
laughing in the kitchen?
I'm trying to think. Who else. Trying to think of other athletes.
Okay, that's enough.
Who are other athletes that
we're-
golf?
The Bulls game is 5 minutes.
Well, I
left, so
think
let's wrap
Michael
this up.
Jordan is the easiest one because Michael Jordan is a better golfer than you, and that seems to be your go-to. Well, I could
Besides
beat-
basketball.
That seems to be your. And I think Tiger Woods maybe could beat you in basketball.
Stop it.
Maybe.
What are you talking about?
Maybe.
No chance. In a 3-point shooting competition, Tiger Woods is beating me?
Who won the 3-point shooting Olympic competition last year?
That's
Who won the 3-point shooting Olympic
I don't think
competition
that's an
last
Olympic
year?
sport.
It's not.
So Tiger Woods is beating me one-on-one. You're crazy.
I think maybe we have no clue how
Oh
good
my
of a
God,
basketball
you're
player
insane.
he is.
No chance.
I think on the insane spectrum, you are way higher in this discussion than I am.
Big Cat said he could do this.
Okay, but he was joking with Jay Cutler.
He's not joking.
He was joking with Jay Cutler.
Is not
he is
joking. He said, Jay, we're going to swim laps next time we're together so that I can prove this. And he said, okay. He was not joking.
Saying let's swim laps next time doesn't prove
To race.
that you would be a faster
race.
swimmer than Michael Jordan because Big Cat told Jay Cutler.
Hey, man, whatever.
All right. Drue Chrisman interview is coming up.
Sean
Sean
first.
Nuernberger.
Sean's first.
And if you ever watched these guys play in college, you probably watched them at Threes Above High. Threes Above High is the official sponsor of the upcoming Olympics, featuring table tennis, 3-point shooting, and
box hockey.
and putting and box hockey. So coming up, Joey is going to win the gold medal in the Joey Olympics, which is just random aspects.
You don't think I could beat
Random
Tony Romo in pool?
Random aspects of various sports.
In pool. That's a sport. Maybe it's not an Olympic sport.
But you have no reason to think that you would beat Tony Romo in pool.
Why don't I? I'm just saying There's no way he can beat me in every single sport.
Okay, well, we will find an athlete, and you will do a heptathlon with them, and you will see.
Wait. You don't think I'm faster than Tony Romo?
I don't know if you're faster than Tony Romo.
Well, that's fine. I can get my 40 time from my college coach, and we'll see what Tony Romo.
I think there might be like a random college basketball player that's like a walk-on at San Diego State that might be able to beat you in every sport.
My friend Patrick was a walk-on at San Diego State. Should we ask him?
Well, there's probably a random walk-on at a random college.
They probably think the same way as I do right now. It's good.
There's probably a random athlete at a random college that we've never heard of ever, or maybe not when there's only a couple athletes in the world.
Anyway, let's get to our interview.
Do you think there's anyone that you could beat in every single sport?
Yeah. 100%. Think about in high school.
But you don't think there's anyone that could beat you in every single sport?
No, because I'm not bragging. I am a very, very good athlete.
I think you are. So you think there's a better chance?
Dylan DiMatteo, he'll tell you I can beat him in every single thing.
Okay.
Not darts. He beat me in darts, so never mind.
Right. I think it's ridiculous.
That's proving my point, though. That's proving my point just now. No one can beat someone in everything.
Especially if you go on making up fake stuff.
No, they're not
until
fake.
You find something that you beat the person in.
Like you can
like a 3-point shootout against Tiger Woods.
You could even go to like an old person's home and play shuffleboard. They'll probably beat you, but they're not beating you at anything else.
That's dumb.
That's not dumb.
That's dumb.
No.
That's dumb.
You're just a hater because you can't say the same thing.
I think I could equally say that I would beat someone in a random sport. I think I could beat Tony Romo in shuffleboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree because that's my point.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I could beat Ndamukong Suh in disc golf when
you're right.
When every other throw you have to catch a rabbit and put it in a cage. I think I could beat him in rabbit disc golf.
You're not catching the rabbit. You're not catching the rabbit better than him.
I would beat Ndamukong Suh in disc golf rabbit catch.
Okay, before we get to our interviews, and before this gets any more off the rails, we have a new sponsor. We have our slogan of this podcast is buckle up, drive the lane. Everyone knows that. But we have a sub slogan now. And that's courtesy of the boys over at White B-Ball Paints. They have an outstanding Twitter following, and they also have now joined Instagram at White B-Ball Paints. I took over their Twitter or their Instagram for a game against Virginia my sophomore year, and we've stayed in close contact. And now they have a bunch of apparel. So they've.
Wait, did you not travel to that game?
No, I did.
But when you just did like
Snapchat during shoot around and yeah.
I lost $80 on that game.
Let me get back to my ad read. So with this new sub slogan, it is, "I'll dunk when it's worth 3 points," and that is the new sub slogan of the Drive the Lane podcast.
I like it.
We love the boys at White B-Ball Paints. Me and Andrew shoot a lot of threes when we play, and we don't dunk, so it makes a lot of sense for them to sponsor us. We'll be showing you guys pictures of the great apparel that you can get if you're a specific sports fan. And if you don't love what they have, then you head over to High Street Tees and you get something that you like there. So it's pretty simple. So without further ado, I think it's time that we throw to the interview. And please tweet us about this argument, because I think I have some validation. Anyway, here's Sean Nuernberger, followed by Drue Chrisman.
Buckle up and drive the lane and play every sport.
Box hockey.
All right, we now welcome on to the Drive the Lane podcast, national champion and former Ohio State kicker, Sean Nuernberger. Sean, how we doing, my man? What's up?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. So what are you up to these days? Educate the listeners.
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. That's a great question. I'm moved down to Cincinnati in the summer, and I just started my second semester of law school at UC Law. Everything's going well. Trying to secure a job right now for the summer is kind of what's on the plate right now, and yeah, still kicking a little bit. So just trying to figure out kind of what comes next.
Yeah, that was definitely my follow-up question. I know that you still kick on occasion. Is the dream of the NFL still very alive for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I kind of, and everyone that asks, I always tell I'm equally excited about a career in the legal field as I am, playing in the NFL. They're kind of, equal to me. I don't really have one main option and a backup. So I'm kind of pursuing both. Took a little time off kicking to rest the legs up, and now getting back into it. I'm kind of debating whether I'm going to try to do pro day again. Still in contact with my agent and everything. So we'll, kind of see how we get back into it. If I'm killing it and feeling good, why not give it another shot? While I'm still young. I guess I'm getting old now, but I'm still relatively young.
Do you want us to make you? Do you want us to make you a highlight tape?
Yeah. Hey, actually, that might help. That might be what pushes me over the edge. That might be what I need to separate myself. So yeah, I mean, if you guys got time for that, I'm down.
Yeah, that's Andrew's expertise. I will tweet it out, but I
Yeah.
I can't make the highlight. Not tech savvy like
right,
that.
Right, perfect.
So
that's funny.
Obviously, you said you still do a little bit of kicking when you're not in school. Have you missed an extra point yet?
No, I haven't. I still haven't missed one. I try to stay away from kicking them because I don't want to miss one in practice, and that gets in my head. So I've kind of got the routine down on those.
For those of you who don't know. For those of you who don't know, Sean is 216 for 216 career extra points. That's 100%.
That's right.
Which is 28% higher than his 36 for 50 career field goal percentage.
Yeah, right. Or PATs are a bit easier.
Yeah.
Sean, did you know that you had never missed a point before you broke the record?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things I never really thought about, and then I think I got to like 100, maybe my like sophomore, junior year, and that was to break Drew Basil's Ohio State record. And when I broke that, I was like, oh, it's, actually pretty cool. And then I kind of started like paying attention because we got really close. I think right before the Nebraska game, like 2017, we were going there. And somebody was like, hey, you need like 3-4 more PATs to break the Big Ten record. And I was like, oh, man, you should not have told me that. Yeah, right. I'm like, why would you tell me that? I don't know who did, but I'm like, this is not a good idea. So we went out there, and, of course, we start the game, and it's like the windiest game we've had. I mean, maybe ever since I've been there.
Of course.
And I remember Blake Hobbiel tried to kick off. The ball flew off the tee one time, and the ball went straight in the air to like the 50-yard line. And I was like, of course it's this game, that we're kicking, that I got to kick these PATs.
Please don't score a touchdown.
So I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, let's just kick 1 or 2, get out of here. We'll get it the next week. Don't even worry about it. But yeah, so we made it through, and it was, nerve-wracking. And then I really didn't think about it until I kicked the one to tie it, I guess. And then somebody, I don't remember if it was Liam or somebody, that brought it up and was like, oh, this next one, this is it. I'm like, God, you got to quit telling me this stuff, I'm really trying to forget about it. But we got away with it, somehow made it through and somehow got it, and then made quite a few after that.
That's awesome, man. You mentioned Blake and Liam. I know you were super, super tuned into the team this year. What is the weirdest part about being a quote-unquote fan now?
It's just weird, I think 1 year removed, because almost everyone on the team, or guys at least, contributing and playing a lot, you spent all those years with, especially like, Liam, Drew, Blake, those guys. And even too, at the other positions, because you saw these guys like superstars now, like Chase Young and all those guys. And they were just, I remember them coming in, being younger, and just the way they've kind of grown up and taken over now. And they're like, the old guys of the program now. It's just so weird almost to see, when I saw them coming in just kind of as little kids. Although Chase really was never a little kid. He looked like he was 30 from like after his 15th birthday, but the rest of those guys, and it's kind of cool to see those guys kind of grow up and take over, the program.
I think the main difference between you and me, because obviously we're in the same boat, both looking on
Right.
after we were done, is you're a national champion. So even if they win a national championship, you're not like, man, I should have stayed one more year. Or I wish I was there one more year. For me, when they
I
started,
was thinking that too. If they win that this year, it'd be really exciting. But I'm like, come on, not the year I leave.
but
The year I get out of there, they win when I would have been sick.
yeah,
I mean,
you
really happy,
you and your
but...
15 rings. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
How many do you exactly? It's more than 8, isn't it?
How many rings do I have?
Yeah.
Ooh, good question. I think I only have 5. I
Really?
think. Because we got
5 gold pants.
Yeah, 5 gold pants. Freshman 2014, we got 3. We got the inaugural playoff one, a ring for the championship and Sugar Bowl, and then a ring for the Big Ten, and beating Team Up North. I think that was on one ring.
Jeez.
The next year, we won the Fiesta Bowl in 2015, and we didn't get a ring because, Coach Meyer's standard was national championship or, bowl game, waste of time, I guess, so didn't get a ring there. 2016 lost the playoff. 2017, we did get a Cotton Bowl ring.
They just
got
give
a Cotton
out
Bowl ring in 2017. Yeah, right.
Except for not.
And then in 2018, the Rose Bowl ring. So yeah, 5.
Man.
So and then 5 gold pants.
That's a lot of rings.
Right.
Did
I
you?
agree.
So we've obviously talked about all your kicks. Did you feel a lot of pressure being a kicker, more specifically for Ohio State than just being a kicker in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough kicking at a place like Ohio State, especially when the standard is to win every single game, and even the pressure that's on, like, a quarterback, they expect you to make every throw, and a receiver make every catch. So it's kind of just the standard of playing any position at Ohio State is just to be as close to perfect as possible, so any sort of miss or anything is kind of, just, not good at all. So yeah, I mean, you kind of get used to it after a while. I remember my freshman year, my first home game against Virginia Tech. I mean, I'd never been so nervous in my life. I couldn't feel my lower body at all, going out there to kick, which showed because I shanked off 2 kicks, or I hit the upright on one of them.
Yeah, you lost.
Then we ended up losing the game. Yeah, a little off the game. So not a good time. I remember. Yeah, and I was like 18 at the time, or just turned 18. I'm like, this is not for me. I'm telling you. So,
do you get anxious when you see other kickers going up to kick in big situations, or are you like, haha, I don't have to deal with that anymore in college?
Not really. I think the only, like this year watching the games when Blake would go up to kick, I get real nervous just because I love Blake, and I want him to do so well. So it's like, I almost feel like I'm out there kicking when he's out there. I'm like, come on, you got to make this. You're going to make this. So but other than that, no, not really.
So, we kind of talk about this with basketball, and I know you play a little basketball too, but we talk about this like, modeling your shot or your game after someone. Is there that same mindset with kickers? Like, do you watch other kickers? Do you try to kick like certain kickers?
Yeah, I mean, kicking's a real weird thing. Everyone has different coaches and everyone kind of has a different style. But I grew up kind of my kicking coach in high school, and Drue and I had the same coach. He was a huge David Akers fan, a huge Eagles fan. So I always used to watch his film and try to like emulate what he was doing. And my coach would always send me his film, but it was weird because he was a lefty. So I was always trying to like do this stuff backwards and do all this stuff backwards. But, nowadays I really, probably my favorite NFL kicker has to be Justin Tucker. I mean, he just kind of the swag that he brings to the position, and you can kind of tell when a kicker goes out there and tries not to miss, when he's kicking. And then there's other kickers that go out there to kill the ball every single time. And that's kind of, the mentality that Justin Tucker seems to have. He's going out there to crush it every single time, and it works. A guy almost never misses. So, I think just the kind of swag he brings to it.
I just think it's funny how many similarities there are with kicking and shooting. Just in terms of talking about.
Sure.
I mean, Zolden or Andrew, he referenced it before. Like you were a basketball player as well. You're not just just like kickers are people too. They're also athletes. And me and Sean have played pickup a couple times together. Do you?
Hey, I can work it a little bit.
Absolutely. The team of me, Blake, Drew, Liam, and Sean probably lost.
Might never lose at the Arbor.
Yeah, might not ever lose. And what brings me to my next question is, we've bonded over the the idea of specialists and walk-ons being cut from similar cloths. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of depends on the team too, and really on the culture of the team. But you kind of hear, specialists at a lot of schools are kind of like, the outcasts, I guess. And it's the same thing for, like, if you think traditionally of walk-ons, kind of on any team or any sport. But it really, at a place like Ohio State, and I can't really attest to basketball, but I'm sure it's the same way. I mean, it seems like, whether you're walk-on, whether you're a specialist, everyone gets treated for the most part the same. Everyone's out there, and everyone acknowledges that whether you're, the starting quarterback, or whether you're the holder or the snapper, or, a guy playing scout team giving us the look, without every single person doing their job, the stuff doesn't work. The team's not going to be prepared for the game that week, and just, imagine shanking off an 8-yard punt, and then they get, to start on their 40, 35-yard line, whatever it is, and it's just, it's really the coaches at Ohio State, I'm sure in both sports understood when I was there, how important, each individual position and how important each individual person, whether, walk on, starter, specialist, whatever, is to kind of the success of the program.
I assume you probably are very close, or were very close, with a lot of the specialists. Are there still any guys that you're constantly communicating with, maybe not specialists or specialists?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's specialist-wise for sure. I mean, Cam, one of my best friends, which he's with the Eagles now, but that's a guy that, we were together there for a while.
Cam
Johnson,
really
all the specialists,
for
too.
Those who don't know.
Yeah, Cam Johnson. Right. And, Blake, I'm still real close. I mean, a lot of the guys. And same with Liam. We probably talk every day or every other day, whether it's sending a funny TikTok or talking about,
He just sounded like such a dad there.
Yeah, right. Sending a little TikTok, or, whether it's, workout advice and that, he's kind of training at Grandview Pro Fitness, this gym where Cam and I trained for Pro Day, and have been working out for a couple of years while I was still in Columbus. So he's kind of gone over there to do his training for Pro Day and for the draft. So we've been in pretty, steady contact, just kind of training together. So
you still talk to Coach Urban, Coach Meyer?
Oh no, he's too busy. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, no, I don't even know the last time that I've seen him. Maybe at a game when I went last year, but with him doing the whole broadcasting thing, he's been, out and about doing all that. So no, I haven't seen him in a while.
Herbs, do you have any untold Ohio State stories that we can hear about? Funny, cool, sad, anything?
Not sad.
Not sad.
Oh, hey, yeah, some of these are inappropriate, I'm sure. No, I'm kidding. I wish you would have told me that you were going to ask me this before.
You didn't think we were going to ask you that? Come on now.
What do you think we were going to be like? What's your go-to mechanic when you're on the 33-yard line?
Yeah, right. Which I wouldn't have an answer to. So I'm glad you didn't ask that.
Because you get up there and you try and boot it.
Yeah, right. So one thing that's kind of a funny story is, I guess just something that the specialist did during camp a couple years ago. But we did this thing where we'd have different days where we play different kind of music in the locker room, during camp when you're there all day. And the rest of the team is, in meetings and stuff. And we really don't have that much to meet about, other than our individual kind of skill sets and watching film and me kicking, but Drew doesn't, want to or need to watch me kick. So we kind of had a lot of, extra free time. But I think maybe 2014 or 2015, we'd go in the locker room and they had all these air mattresses for guys to nap. And we would just basically take up a whole row of the locker room and surround ourselves with these air mattresses. and we'd call it Club Uncle. Uncle was like the special teams.
Oh,
one
I
of the
know.
special teams
I know
assistants.
Uncle.
Yeah, you know Uncle, right. So we'd call it Club Uncle, and we'd just have all the lights off in the locker room and the mattresses all around a row, and just be blasting like disco music, going to town, just jumping up and down when the offense and defense were switching from meetings to workouts, and they'd all come through like, what the heck's going on in here? They just see us in the corner like bouncing around. So yeah, coaches came through every once in a while and weren't too happy with it. But we just kind of do stuff as a specialist group too. We got extra time, try to keep the spirit up and the mood up of the rest of the team. So I guess that's one of those stories that I'm allowed to tell.
So a lot of times in basketball or in football, if you're going against a defensive player, often maybe someone in your division or in your conference, you develop a little bit of a rivalry with certain players. Right. Is there any player on any team that you've ever played against you're like, oh, I hate that guy? I know it might be difficult with kickers, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on something like that.
I guess it's weird because in kicking, there's really not like a man-to-man matchup or anything. It's kind of all solo and on you. But I think, we've all kind of developed a bit of a hate for Penn State just as much as we have for the team up north. Maybe not quite the same level, but, it's definitely up there. And I think, a couple of years ago, they had that kicker that just did the kickoffs.
The big guy?
And would run. Yeah, the massive guy would run down the field, and people weren't expecting it, and would just run people over. And then after a while, people realized what he's doing. So they were trying to, turn around and kill him. And he, started complaining and everything after that. But man, that was probably just the most annoying thing. All of us were like, what is this guy doing?
We're going to
trying to run people over. And
we're going to separate the monster hits that he had from the fact that I think he had an eating disorder. That's not what we're laughing at.
Yeah. No, we're not bringing that
up. So what's the best part about being a kicker? As you can tell, we've never talked to a kicker before.
Yeah, right. I think the one thing I like about kicking is like the instant, and why I liked it more than punting growing up is just there's kind of like the instant validation. Every time you go out on the field, you're scoring. If you do it correctly. So it's like and that doesn't happen in any other position. Every single time you get the chance to go on the field, you get to score. Which is kind of great. You're not playing defense. You're not even setting up the score. You're literally, it's like they're calling the timeout, sending you out there just to shoot a three every single time, which is great. I don't have to run. Yeah, right. There's no running back on defense. There's nothing. Just a quick jog and take your three and move on, So I think that's the coolest part probably. It's just you get to go out there and, get a chance to try to score every time you go out.
So, that's kind of how you felt, Joey, when you would go in at the end of games.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit different.
I saw some Joey Lane games pulling up every time he caught it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we all had a job to do. That was mine.
Yeah, right.
But I think the only reasonable follow-up question to that is, what's the worst part about being a kicker?
Oh, when you miss. I mean, it ain't even close. That's it. Yeah, and there's, the one thing that I love about being, a kicker is that, when things go well, they kind of, and, I guess it's both ways a little bit. When things go well or they don't go well, it's kind of all on you. If you go out there and hit a game winner or a big field goal, everyone's like, you killed it, you did your job, and kind of ignore, that the long snapper and holder got the ball down there for you, so you kind of get all the credit. But same thing when you miss, even if there's, and not that there's many bad snaps and holds at Ohio State, but, just kickers in general, you go out there, you have a bad snap that throws off the timing, or you have a bad hold and there's a miss, it's still all on you, unless you're an expert and kind of know that the snap or the hold was, what was messed up. It's like, wow, this kicker really sucks. He's shanking his kicks off. So I think that, it kind of goes both ways. But yeah.
So I kind of have one last question for you. We already discussed this, but I want to ask it the way I intended to ask it.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So Is it weird that you've never missed an extra point? That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, I guess it is crazy, and I think I always say this, and I think when kicking PATs, everyone really at any college level has the skill to make every single PAT. If you're going out at the collegiate level, kicking field goals, I mean, you can make every single PAT. So I think it's just, kind of attesting to how good the line was, how good my snappers were over the years, how good my holders were over the years.
So humble.
To just kind of, put me in position every single time. I mean, I never, except for one time, I don't remember. I think Drue dropped a snap on a PAT against Maryland in 2017, and then he picked it up and played quarterback. And I remember he was looking right at me to throw it to me. I'm like, no, don't throw that thing at me.
No.
So he ended up throwing it to Rashad Berry, who's massive, who ended up stiff arming a guy and whatever. But yeah, so it's really just a testament to those guys kind of putting me in the position. I just had to go out there and swing straight, But yeah, it's pretty cool to have that record.
Okay, last question. What's last question? What's what's easier, a free throw or a PAT?
PAT.
Man, I would think a PAT. I think just the margin. I mean, I don't know. It depends, I guess. A free throw's kind of all on you. A PAT still.
There's some other variables.
There's a lot more variables, I guess, that go into it. Obviously, the margin for error on a free throw is a couple centimeters or an inch or whatever it is. On a PAT, you got a little room to work with. I think NFL PATs, I'd probably say that was harder because you're far enough back there. If you hit the ball, I mean, there's a solid chance you're going to miss, which you see in the NFL quite often. But I think the college PAT, I mean, you're 20 yards away right in front. You kind of got to kick it. Yeah, you got to kick it pretty sideways to miss, from there. So, yeah, I'd probably say PAT is easier.
All right.
I would disagree.
I haven't shot free throws in a while, so it's tough.
Well, before we let you go, this is part of the interview.
Wait, Sean, did you know I kicked a 40-yard field goal in high school gym class?
No way. Bullshit.
I did.
Really?
Swear on my life.
Yeah, I believe you.
And that was the last field goal I've ever kicked, probably.
That's funny.
Okay, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, this is the part of the interview where if you have any questions for us, please feel free to ask. We would feel terrible if we didn't at least give you the opportunity.
Yeah, well, I've been waiting for that. I was hoping that you guys brought that up. I felt awkward asking. But yeah, the main question is, who has been probably your favorite person besides me? You don't want to, that'd be boring. The obvious answer, but who's been, your favorite person to interview or most entertaining person and why? Just because I kind of want to know.
I'll kick it off.
And I want to know. I want to know which episode to listen to.
You might be able to guess because he was your teammate.
Well, no, that's. If you have no idea, if you haven't listened to any of our episodes, you'll never guess it.
But when we tell you, you're going to be like, "Oh, of course."
Okay, that's
Andrews.
Andrews.
When was he my team? Is he still on a team?
You were a freshman and he was a fifth-year senior.
Yeah.
So.
And this guy fits the stereotype of someone who would be like a regular fifth-year senior also, like still going to the parties and like hanging out, Don't you think?
Cardale Jones.
No, so close, so close. Very close.
It's his father. His father. Oh, jeez.
Oh, I know. Oh, Tyvis Powell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's our
funny.
guy. We call him our best friend. We call him we've had him on 3 times already for 15 minutes.
Tyvis is so funny.
Yeah.
I remember coming to the locker room. He's just super goofy. He's a great dude, though.
Yeah, he's great. If we want to recommend a couple episodes to you, I would listen to Holtman, Mata, and Greg Oden because those were in person. They're all back to back weeks. They're pretty darn funny too. So.
And Diebler,
I'll do that.
and Kraft we did together, and they were really funny because we were in the same room with them.
I'm trying to think of what other football guys besides Tyvis. We had Joshua Perry on. We had Terry and
Beanie.
Beanie.
Terry's good.
Yeah, Terry's good too, but it's not as funny.
Yeah, Terry's good. Terry's a good guy.
But yeah,
he's killing it too this year.
Is killing
Yeah,
it.
once he came on the show, I mean, he just was really good.
Yeah, it's funny
That must
actually.
be it.
He did start going nuts after he came on the show. But yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get a video from me taking like 75 yarders here in a couple days.
Hey, no.
I'm gonna send that right over to you.
If you send it to me, I'll send it to Andrew. The highlight tape will get made. Seriously, you're
All right,
laughing,
I'm
but
gonna
it
remember that. I'm
will.
gonna start sending you guys clips.
I DM'd you from the Instagram account right when you followed, and Joey was like, "Dude, that's my friend." I couldn't just text him. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to be nice."
Andrew loves to.
When did you
message and
DM me?
text
I didn't
people.
even see that.
So long ago. I was
Oh,
like,
look
"Hey,
at
man."
you.
I was
Oh,
like, "Hey,
that's
man.
cool.
Thanks for the follow. Got to have you on soon." You were like, "Absolutely. Sounds good."
Oh, I probably thought it was Joey. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is he messaging me on this account?
He sent me Andrew sent me a screenshot of that, and I was like, dude, at least just ask me before you DM Ohio State athletes that are my age that I probably know.
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
That's funny.
Oh,
That's too
geez.
funny.
Oh man. All right, we'll let you go. You're a busy lawyer guy, so we'll let you go.
Well, I'm trying to be. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely, man. It was a blast. You're now you're gonna be a recurring guest, so we'll let you know when you're coming back on. Okay?
Hey, for sure. I'll try to do some cool stuff so I got some better stories next time.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Or I'll have some interesting stories lined up for you.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe we'll give you the layout of all the questions we're gonna ask you, so you can be prepared. Okay?
Okay, perfect. I love that.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thank you. Thanks. Talk to you. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.
All right, we now welcome on to the Drive the Lane podcast. Ohio State punter, Drue Chrisman. Drew, welcome to the freaking show, my man. How we doing today?
Dude, I am pumped. Thank you for inviting me.
Of
This is
course.
awesome.
You know,
it's
I
our pleasure.
actually said to Joey months ago when we started this, I said, when are we getting Drue Chrisman on? So this is a dream guest for me.
Yeah, no, I remember you guys trying to get me on. I think maybe it was even before the season this past year, and then it just never worked out. So glad we can make it happen.
Oh yeah, no, it was always in the making. It's about dang time that we have Drew, spelled Drue, like no one else in the world on the podcast.
Yes, I like to be unique. Thank you.
All right, Drew, we're gonna start with some serious stuff that's also not so serious. Will you tell the people about your bottle flipping world record endeavor?
Yes. I did do a little something. When was this? This past weekend. I think I'm finally just caught back up to my normal sleep cycle. I stayed up for 24 hours straight and flipped a bottle to save the koalas out in Australia. In doing so, I was successfully raising over $15,000 and counting, may I add. People are still DMing me, which is kind of crazy. They just donated $50, $100 in my name to the cause. So that's wonderful to hear. And I really didn't expect that much, to be honest. It was just kind of like a whir of the moment thing. And in doing so, I also broke a world record for most bottle flips in 24 hours as well. So
have you gotten your plaque from that yet?
For one, I have not.
Oh my God, I'm jealous of that.
I unofficially own 2 world records.
Whoa.
One for most water bottle flips in a minute, and one for most water bottle flips in 24 hours. The only problem is it costs like $5,000 or $6,000 to have one of the world record Guinness people make it official. So,
so that's fine. You just take a little money out of the fund and you.
That's what I'm saying. I might even do another little fundraiser on my own to raise that. Probably after college. I don't know how much compliance would be on board with that one.
Yeah, if we want to get into compliance.
They barely let this one go by.
If we don't get into compliance, how did you get to flip a bottle and raise money and I couldn't sell T-shirts and raise money? How about that?
Yeah, right?
It's the difference between being a football player and a basketball player at Ohio State, man. It's a football school. It's no one else's fault.
I got some numbers questions for you, okay?
All right.
What's the money at right now? And how many bottles did you flip in 24 hours?
So if I had to guess, the money's probably close to $16,000 by now. We haven't got the exact count because, like I said, the DMs are still coming. And then the official, also unofficial count is just over $22,000. My dad was a trooper. He stayed up for about 21 hours of the attempt and had a little pitch counter. and sat there and clicked every time it landed upright.
That's what I was
so
going
he
to
took
ask.
a little nap.
Who's counting?
Yeah, he took a little nap in there, and I saw him dozing off a couple of times while he was clicking. So, it might not be the exact, but honestly, if anybody wants to review the film and dispute it, I'll be glad.
Be my guest.
I'll be gladly, be my guest. Let me know, honestly, if you actually want to.
Oh, that's so funny. That reminds me of I hate to go on a tangent when we're interviewing you, but one of my teammates was my freshman year. The 2 walk-ons were assigned 2 in-game tasks. The first task was to hold up cards every time we got a stop, because in basketball, if you get 3 stops in a row, they call it a kill. And we wanted to get like eight kills a game, so I was the kill card guy. And I was holding up 1, 2, and then a K when we got kills. As dumb as that was, it wasn't as dumb as my other buddy who had the job of counting how many high fives we had during the game. And you talk about a pitch counter. He had a pitch counter, and Jake Lorbach, he was counting how many high fives, butt slaps, back slaps, chest bumps, any daps that we had.
Everything counted. Wow.
And what he did was, this is the funniest part of the story, when he got it in pregame, during warm-ups and stuff, like he was sitting out the whole year because he had a bunch of concussions, and he knew he wasn't going to play basketball in the future, so he wanted to preserve his brain. He would get it, and in warm-ups, he would just start clicking it, and eventually it would get to like 1,600 before the game started, and he'd be like, all right, I don't have to click it the rest of the game now.
I got a feeling probably half of that was from you alone.
Oh, yeah, no, we would sit on the bench and high-five each other while he clapped it. It was pretty funny, but that's...
I've seen you on the bench. I bet you made that your goal of the game is to probably get over 2,000 butt slaps in.
Hey, man, yeah, maybe not butt slaps in particular, but yeah.
No, strictly butt slaps.
Okay, let's
talk some football.
Let's talk some football.
Can I do the honors of the
go
first
ahead.
football question?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First football question. We'll start happy, then we'll get a little sad, and then we'll trend back up to happy. All right.
Roller coaster emotions. Here we go.
What's going through take us through the play call is for you to throw a freaking pass in the Big Ten Championship. All right. Take us from when the play is called until you're back on the sidelines after the pass is completed. Let's hear it.
Yes, this is hands down probably my proudest 30 seconds of my life, and probably the most athletic 30 seconds of my life. Believe it or not, I was a quarterback in high school back in my prime, and we've always had a fake punt pass in while Coach Meyer was the coach, and we just never called it. We usually put a new one in each week depending on the team, and most of the time we jump up on teams so quickly, it's like, why run a fake at this point? We're already beating them by 30 points. So, that's kind of position as a punter at Ohio State. You don't get to play much until it is like a close game. But, this game was different. We went down, 2-3 touchdowns? And
quite a
things
few.
were looking a little shady. I think the ball was like on our own 26-yard line. And we get the go from Coach Day. I think he was the announcers online. I heard afterwards, like probably the biggest play call of his coaching career up to this point. And looking back on it, that game probably would have turned out a little differently if that was not successful. But we actually had our fake punt to a different guy. All the way up, leading up to this game, and this game in particular, we changed it to Luke Farrell, which was the guy who caught it. And so that week, we're like, all right, we're probably not going to run it. Big Ten Championship. We just put in this new fake punt. So we were just joking around, even that night in the hotel, like, all right, get ready for this call, because it never happened. But we always practiced it probably 2-3 times that week. And then, what is it? Second half, we're down 14, 26-yard line, and here we go. Coach gives us the green light. And, at that point, I honestly was just more excited than anything. People are like, oh, are you nervous? Throw it in the ball. I'm like, I had been practicing this for 4 years. Okay. So I had been primed for this moment. It wasn't just that week type of thing. So, Liam gave me a great snap rolling out, and now I have the highest completion passer rating in the history of Ohio State football. So,
wow!
Did you black out?
Three Guinness World Records.
Did you black out?
I honestly don't remember afterwards. Like, I forget what I did. I should have done a Pat McAfee celebration. That was a missed opportunity. I'm in Indianapolis. Pat McAfee's my guy. Missed opportunity there, but I'm just glad we got the first down and a Buckeye victory. So yeah, it's awesome to look back on it now.
As a punter, are you happy when you don't have to punt in a game? That's a media question. I don't know if I like the way I phrased that. We're not media, but
no, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's dumb, but
saying. I said, the competitor in me, I like to win. Okay, and we do a lot of that here at Ohio State. This past season, I kind of called it the sideline net season because we get the third down. It'd be like third and long, like 3rd and 13. I'm like, all right, the statistical percentage of us punting here is probably like 70-80%. All right, so I get my 2 warm-up kicks in the net. I'm standing on the sideline with the punt team. We're about to run out, and then J.K. Dobbins or Justin Fields or K.J. Hill make some spectacular play, and I'm right back to the net on the sideline and, get my leg loose again to maybe punt one time that game. So, I like winning, but then again, it is fun to contribute to the team as well, other than just holding extra points. That's nice to be able to do both of those, so at least I get on the field somewhat.
You get your name in the paper.
But, yeah, get the name in the paper a little bit, get some good pictures with Blake. But, yeah, no, I like the punt, but I like winning more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good. It makes sense, I would say, yeah.
I assume that you do not like losing based off the way that you were talking about winning. So how long does it take? How long does it take for you? And we'll go with off season. How long does it take for you when there's a season-ending loss? How long are you sad? And then how quickly does it turn back into, all right, let's get in the gym, let's get ready for next year?
Yeah, no, that was this past year was probably the hardest loss of maybe my athletic career. For this was the most fun I think anybody in that locker room was having throughout their entire time playing football, and we really thought it wasn't going to end. We really didn't see ourselves being satisfied unless we were holding up a national championship trophy, and we 100% could have. So it was different than the 0-31 loss. That was my redshirt year. I wasn't playing. I didn't have that much invested in it, and plus we got blown out. So it's like, man, you got to look at the film and see what happened. Here, we could have won it. We should have won it.
Yeah.
And that's a much harder blow to take. And Coach Mix, he still got this final score in the weight room, keep it as motivation. But yeah, I'm sure some guys were just just pissed off, and some guys, that was it. The seniors and everything, that's just a rough way to end your season. And I'm fortunate to have one more year, so to kind of get that bad taste out of my mouth. But some guys, that's it. So it was a great run, a great season. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, this one's still going to sit with us. Probably right up until we're holding the trophy this year. Or I guess it would be next January. So I think that's the only way to get that taste out of our mouth. So
yeah, I would say so. I think Sean, we already interviewed Sean, obviously, and you know that, and he said. We talked about how he has 100 rings from his 15 years at Ohio State, and and he said, it got to a point where you guys won the Fiesta Bowl, and you guys didn't get rings for that because you're expected to win a national championship every year, which I think is the coolest thing we've talked about on this podcast about Ohio State athletics. Is the expectations are so high, and that is what's the silver lining when you lose in the college football playoff. Every other team in the country would die to be in that position. So, like you're kind of saying, the only way to get that taste out of your mouth is to go back and do it again with a different result.
Yeah, no, we are spoiled. We do win a lot around here, but back-to-back Big Ten champs, and we were still, disappointed. So that just kind of shows you where the program's at, which I think is a great thing to be. Nothing wrong with striving to be the best. So. Yeah, I'm just happy to be a Buck and be a part of it, even my little piece that I am. So,
yeah, no, you're right, and you're so much of a little piece that you had to announce on Twitter that you were coming back. How long did that decision take for you to say, you know what, let's give it another year?
Yeah, no, I kind of decided halfway through the year. It was just at that point, I covered just wanted to post that picture. I thought it was a sweet pic.
I love that.
It.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of already known. I already told the coaching staff and everything, so what is the surprise of them? But, yeah, some people were asking me if I was coming back. And it's pretty cool to be in that position as a specialist because most of the time specialist is just a 4-year gig, and because you really get that much film. You don't play as much as a receiver or a quarterback. You can't be a one-and-done punter or a kicker. So it's cool to be in that position to have the ability to leave early if I really wanted to. But it's definitely better for my career to finish out Ohio State strong.
Yeah, I
with
think
a big
I felt this.
National championship ring.
I think I felt the same way as you. You know, yeah, I could have left after 3, but why not stay, get my degree, and try and try.
Why not?
I can't even finish saying that without laughing. Oh, man.
It's a smart career decision on your part, too.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, and unfortunately it didn't work out after my, my 4th and final year, but I have a feeling that it'll be a little bit different for you.
Is there a pro day for basketball? I'm curious. Like, did you get to do, like, a little shoot-around expedition? No?
No.
Am I talking crazy?
No. There's a couple schools around the country that'll have those, and they'll have them before the season starts. Like Kentucky and Memphis had it this year, I think. Maybe even like Duke. Missouri, I guess. Andrew went to Missouri, and I guess they had a pro day for no pros,
for Michael
so that's
Porter,
good.
we had it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's a little bit different because like the combine, or I should like Ohio State has a pro day. But like I don't know if it's the same for football, but agencies have pro days in basketball. So like CAA will have their pro day where they have 18 of the best guys in the draft all working out together, going through it with a respected NBA trainer and stuff. So it's a little bit different than football, but at the end of the day, the film is way more important than running a 40-yard dash, I think.
Yeah. Like I mean that's true in football too, but it is kind of nice for some walk-ons who've never even touched the field. They get to run out there in their tights and run a 40 in front of NFL scouts and get some cool pictures. So I just didn't know if there was something similar to that for the Joey Smokes of the world. So
I wish. It's funny that you keep talking about the cool pictures. That is giving you guys some insight into what college athletes think. Like 60% of the time when we're playing, it's like
100%.
Where's the camera? I got to get this picture to post on Instagram.
My guy, Birmingham, he knows.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's Lettermen Row, baby.
That's our guy.
That's our guy.
Oh, yeah? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
No, he's great. I wish he would work with football. He does a great job. That whole Lettermen Row whole crew. And, yeah, they hook the guys up with some. Because it's like there's a million cameras on the field. And then after the game, I can't find a picture of myself to save my life. I have to Google myself to find pictures sometimes. I'm like, can nobody send me a picture of myself? I know I was out there. I know somebody had to take a picture, but
think about it for you. You're playing every single game. You're out there a handful of times each game. For me, I'm only out there 1 out of every 8 games. I better get a couple pictures from that. It's got to last me the rest of the year, possibly.
Well, you get your TV time. I see it span over to the bench after a big shot.
That's true. You can only post so many bench pictures.
Was able to find Joey with a towel. So.
I just need to make sure that when my kids look at my Instagram, they realize, oh, Dad actually did play. He didn't just sit on the bench.
Just on the bench. There you go. You got to throw a couple up there.
Exactly. Oh man.
All right, Drew. I got a question. It's a two-part question. Okay.
All right.
Which one of the Buckeyes heading to the draft is going to be the best in the NFL, and which one of them can we call and add to this episode?
Good question.
That is a good question. Best in the NFL, man. Honestly,
you can count Joe Burrow too.
I know.
No.
Sorry. No, I'm being overruled.
My question, my rules.
So no Joe Burrow. I can't say Joe Burrow.
Correct.
Okay, well, I hope it's Joe Burrow because he's going to be a Bengal, and I'm a Bengal. But excluding Joe, there's a lot of hype around Chase, and I think he's going to have a great NFL career. But the guy who I think is going to succeed the most in their career, Jeff Okudah, 100%, hands down. I think, personally, looking back at this year, the most impactful person on our defense was Jeff Okudah. Chase gets the name, he had the sacks, but they were literally just not throwing to Jeff. I don't know how he's ended on the stats this year, but it was freaky. It was fun to watch.
Let me ask you.
Nobody was able to get by that guy.
Let me ask you: are you only saying Jeff Okudah because without him, some of your he was a gunner, wasn't he? Shit, this would be a bad question.
He was my gunner too.
Okay.
So there is that little bit of
okay.
bond.
Okay.
That
Phew.
so.
Who the gunners were? Him and Olave, right?
A little bias. Olave was definitely my main guy this year. Jeff was he did a lot of it last year. I think he just did some pooch punts this year. Not as much this year, but he was phenomenal as a gunner last year. Not as good as Terry. Not as good as Terry. Terry will always be a number one.
Terry's a guest of the Terry's a former guest of the podcast. So
Terry is a former guest. That's right, and then he balled out right afterwards. So I'm hoping the drive the lane benefits me as well.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're familiar with the drive the lane bump. It is it's very real. I'll just give you quickly some examples. Terry was incredible after he called us. My buddy Jalen, who plays on the Mavericks, was named to the Team USA Select team right after he interviewed with us. Joshua Perry got the game against Northwestern got shifted to BTN, so he did the halftime show for that right after he interviewed with us.
Tyvis Powell got picked up by the Broncos.
Got picked up by the Broncos after he interviewed with us.
Duncan Robinson,
basketball
player, went 4 for 4 from to start the game
after he interviewed with us the next day.
Wow.
So you might want to go and you might want to go play the lottery or something.
But actually, the key with all of them is that they called a future NFL draft pick. And that's kind of what unlocks the
don't
drive
listen
the
to
lane
him.
bump.
Don't listen to him. It's really just if you give us a percentage of your NFL contract in the future. That's what it is. So.
Oh, okay, yeah, no biggie.
Yeah, that's easy. Oh, jeez,
That's the least I can do.
We're getting too much. Like, do you ever listen to Part of My Take, Drew? Any of the Barstool podcasts?
A couple occasionally.
Yeah, that's very part of my takey of us to say, oh yeah, we're your best friends. You got to give us part of your contract. That's what they say all the time,
really?
Which is hilarious. And then when you're saying it, it's not that funny. So we're sorry for that.
I thought it was hilarious. No, it's okay.
All right, Drew, before we kind of let you go, we definitely want to inquire about any untold, funny Ohio State stories that you could share with us. Maybe something that'll be on Get Up tomorrow morning because it's so headline worthy.
Oh, man, funny. Man, I wish you knew just some of the specialist personalities. I feel like honestly the specialists are like the group of like the high school teenage girls and in high school, just the little drama club. There's always something going on with us. Mainly because we stick so much. We have to stick around each other so much because we're not position meetings or anything. So we're basically just hanging out together all day during practice, during camp and everything. So some of those guys are just hilarious. Like, you probably wouldn't get anything from that.
That's what Sean said the same thing. He gave us a specialist story. That's good. He gave us maybe this will
jog your memory.
Yeah, jog your memory. Thank you. That's what. He talked about Club Uncle during training camp.
Oh, Uncle. Oh, dang! You could do a whole podcast. You got to call Uncle. That would be
it's funny.
That would be a podcast right there.
Were you ever with Sean? Sean used to give me he used to give me snacks every morning because I took the coaching football class. I think you knew that. And Unc was he was our teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He did.
So every
I I think we went and watched one of the classes he was teaching.
Yeah, so every morning it started at like 7:30, and obviously you're not gonna want to be late to that class. So me and my roommate who also took it, we would get there at like 7:15, and Sean would always have like a pack of goldfish, an apple, a water bottle, and like all this stuff for me, and he would say hi to Uncle every time.
Classic Sean. What a guy.
What a guy.
He was jipping you. I know there was better food than that there. Jeez.
No, he gave me some good stuff. I think I had a couple Slim Jims one time. It would have been funny if he like. It would have been funny if he brought me like a bowl of ice cream or something one time. That would have been funny.
He needs to stay away from that. That would have been dangerous for him.
I don't know if we're gonna end up playing Sean's interview or your interview first in this episode. So if you haven't listened to Sean, keep listening to it. But he said one of his rivals was the fat kicker from Penn State, and I didn't want to say anything, but I know that you guys always made fun of him for being very husky and being one of the strongest kickers in college football.
Yeah, no, I mean, he by the end of his career, I mean, he was looking good. I mean, look at him now; he's kind of jacked up.
Oh, he's
now.
a beast.
But yeah, he came in probably rivaling with. I forget his name, Joey Julius or something.
Yeah.
That kicker from Penn State. And I don't know how it is around most of the country, but fat does not last long at Ohio State, even at the kicker position. So that first year, Sean's first year was absolute hell. I mean, they were running him like crazy. And yeah, by the end of his career, after his 9 years in college, 15. He said 15. I'll stick with 15.
Yeah, stick with 15.
Yeah, he was pretty jacked up. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
he's a bodybuilder.
He was great.
That's clear.
Yeah, he was a bodybuilder.
Okay, well, if you don't have any fun stories for us, even though I told you before that we were going to ask you for that, that's okay though.
I've got an embarrassing story.
Yeah,
this is
perfect.
Kind of where my mind went.
Perfect.
And
hit us with it.
It's great because it involved JT Barrett, and
heard of him.
The few conversations I had with him, this was one of them. And it was my freshman year. It was the first year I was going to start. So it wasn't my redshirt year. It was my first year starting. And it was in the off season. We had this team run. And that week I'd gotten really sick to the point where I was hospitalized. Okay. I was literally, the ambulance.
I remember that.
It didn't know. Yeah. It was crazy. My roommates had to call the ambulance at like 6 a.m. We had like a lift that morning. I legit like was on the ground like puking and like seizuring. It was insane. I didn't know what was going on. So the ambulance came and picked me up. I'm in the hospital the remainder of that day. It was either the following day or the day after. I'm out. I'm still sick. But we have a team run. And our team runs are no joke. I mean, it is half gassers. It is 53s down and back. It was one of those brutal team runs, probably one of the hardest team runs I can remember. But, I was sick at the time, so I probably made it 10 times worse. And it got to the point where I could not move my leg. I felt like I was in quicksand, had cinder blocks on my feet. My body was shutting down. And, I mean, Coach Mick gave me no slack. He knew I was sick and everything. And but I was like one of the dead last guys. And that's just not me. Like, I love the weight room. I love working out. So, he knew something was up. But the rest of the guys, they didn't really know. And they just knew I was some freshman. I was supposed to be starting this year, replacing Cameron, who was an Ohio State legend. So they're like, what is this? What is our punter doing? And JT comes over next to me, and he's trying to run with me, as like a leader, like motivate me, but I couldn't do it. And every time I got to like the end of the sideline, I'm like collapsing. And he is just going off on me. And I'm like, this is JT Barrett. And this is going into his final year. He's an Ohio State legend, Ohio State great and all that. And I'm like, I'm dying. It is probably the most embarrassing, hardest workouts I've ever been through. And it's just the fact that I had JT in my ear just ripping me the whole time. I will never forget that workout. But after that, I was like, if I can get through this, sick, flu, that was my flu game right there, getting through that workout. And I knew I could do anything after that, but definitely didn't gain any respect from the older guys after that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you never talked to JT Barrett ever again after that.
No, that was probably our last conversation. So that's a nice lasting image of me in his memory. So that's great.
It is really funny how similar the life of a walk-on and the life of a specialist is, just because all the stories that you say bring up memories about me. Just obviously specialists and walk-ons both, sometimes don't get enough love for what they do, and they're both kind of nerdy typically also, which is,
We're the GPA.
Yeah, exactly. We're a GPA booster. That's part of the job. But when you tell me a story like that where you're throwing up and trying to get through a workout, the Coach Motto, who was on the podcast, he told the exact same story basically about me, but it wasn't a conditioning workout. It was just a day of practice where we hadn't done very well. It was actually foreshadowing the rest of the season, but he said, all right. He looked at the coaches. He's like, I'm just gonna run these guys until one of them throws up, and then we'll call practice. And of course, we run what's called 22s, down and back twice in 22 seconds. And I ran 4 of them and ran over to the trash can and threw up.
Oh my god!
And I was getting back on the line, ready to go again. And one of the assistant coaches, Jake Diebler, who was actually the video coordinator at that time, comes up to me and goes, Joe, you got to go downstairs. I was like, what? I was like, okay, but I'm a freshman, and I'm just going to do what I'm told. So I went downstairs in the locker room while these other guys kept running. And Coach Mata told me the story. He goes, Joey, I love you. You're working really hard. But when I say I want you guys to run until you throw up, I don't want you to be the one throwing up. It's not your punishment. You're doing everything right. It's these other guys. Oh, anyway, it's just too funny how similar specialists and walk-ons are. We have a group chat. You, me, Liam, Sean. I don't know who else is in it, but I know it's us 4 for sure. And on media day, they asked me some football-related questions, and I brought up the specialists and how close of friends we are. And they were like, you guys have a group chat? Like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, yeah, we're just all students, and we're all athletes.
We're just your regular Joes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got one more question for you, Drew.
All right.
What was a more nerve-wracking on-the-field moment, throwing the pass against Wisconsin or proposing in the spring game?
Ooh. No, proposing. Yeah. That's, you don't get that first down, the sun will come up in the morning, but you get rejected in front of 100,000 people, national TV. You might be entering the transfer portal at that point.
Literally. You're literally entering one of the transfer portals. But not the right one.
I might not be a Buckeye if she said no after that. That would have been hard to come back from. This spring game will be a little less nerve-wracking, I got a feeling.
Yeah,
so,
if only we had any idea what those nerves felt like.
Yeah, I mean that's just. I was more nervous for that than actually punting that day, 100%. So I'm glad it worked out, and we're getting married tonight.
Us too.
So I'm doing some Twitter stalking right now. Was it awkward in the locker room when your girlfriend voted for Justin Fields, not Chase Young, for the Heisman?
Oh, are you talking about on Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they were both up at the moment. I think it was Justin. I remember that because I had tweeted it.
Good answer.
And she just looks at my Twitter. So if anybody's at fault there,
look at you.
Good answer. Chase Young was not an option. Good answer.
You just passed. That was the first test. We'll give you another test when you come on next time.
There you go.
But if you pass 3 tests, it's funny. Then you have to pay us part of your NFL contract. So.
Oh, that joke gets better every time you say it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. Before we finish, we told you we would give you the floor. Are there any questions that you have for us that have been burning? Any burning questions for us?
Burning questions for you guys. I already asked you before. When's this taking off, and you're moving out to California, and you don't remember any of our names anymore? I mean, when is that? Is that the end goal of the podcast?
I mean, sure. I think the end goal of this podcast is to have a lot of fun and make a little bit of money. But if we could move out to California and do this full time, I think we would both do that in a heartbeat. Even though we don't really like each other.
We're already doing something that you can't do, which is make money.
Make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. Trust me, I've got the YouTube. I've got the water bottle brands hitting me up. compliance and I know each other very well. We'll say that. And some things will be a lot easier when the eligibility is up. But,
I
we'll
think
cut
we
that
are.
out. We'll cut that out.
We're two of the. I will say that we are two of the people that when we came into Ohio State, compliance thought we definitely don't need to worry about them, and then boom.
No, and then boom. I literally, to me, Justin was actually talking about you when I was bringing up something. He was talking about just how well you marketed yourself while you were here in college. So,
who was talking about that?
Hats off to you, Justin Kumi.
Oh yeah, he's the man. That's my guy.
Yeah, he is the man. He has never told me no for anything. So shout out to him. But he had all high praise for you and how you dealt with your platform here at Ohio State and really made the most of it. So I mean, look at you now. You got a podcast.
There we go. I did all that for a podcast. Boom, we're all good. All square.
For a podcast. 4 or 5 years for Drive the Lane.
4 years. And it's just so unbelievable, and we're gonna let you go. But I have to say that, like, and you know all this stuff. But when I wanted to sell T-shirts and donate all the proceeds to charity, just like another walk-on had done in years past, like all the way at the top, everyone in Ohio State was for it. Like Gene Smith wanted to have a special game where like part of the like we'd sell T-shirts on the outside, like it would be a huge deal. And then NCAA was like, nah.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have that shirt. It's in my closet.
You have one of the OG shirts.
I do have one of the OG shirts. I never ended up giving the rest of them to the specialists.
Yeah, I know that because I remember like the days after Liam texted me like, hey, like, can I come over and get a shirt? And I'm like, dude, I gave 7 to Drew. If he can, will you please give those out to those poor guys?
I only have 2 now. I don't know what happened.
You only have 2? Well, Sean has one for sure.
Somebody's wearing them. Some homeless guy's wearing them.
Somebody's wearing them.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You got to wear a Drive the Lane to the spring game this year. Drive the Lane shirt to the spring game.
All right.
Wait, when do you guys wear the shirt with the face on it?
It's just Liam that wears the shirt with the face. He can't wear our shirt. He has his own shirt.
This is the ending. This is the final full love story ending this year.
I love my Mormon wife.
My Mormon wife. Well, yeah.
Do you know, Andrew, do you know the story?
Hopefully not Mormon kid. That won't be good.
Yeah, but for Andrew, I don't think you know. He wore, you tell a story.
So yeah, my redshirt year, I didn't plan this at all. Obviously, this is just kind of graduated. My redshirt year, I just wore a plain white tee walking in. I didn't know there was a big deal about the T-shirt. And Liam already had his thing going with his face reappearing and walking into camp every year, which was awesome. It was great. And then all the specialists kind of do something. We're the quirky ones of the football team, so we always try to be funny in some way. And the next year, still had no plan. But I saw a guy out one time. He was wearing a I Love Mormon Girl T-shirt, and I was like, I'm LDS and Mormon. People don't know what LDS means. I was like, I need that shirt, and I literally traded him. We traded shirts off our back. I had some. I don't even know. I thought I had some designer shirt or something. I thought I was cool back in the day from Marshalls or something, probably like $10 off the line. So we literally switched shirts off our back while I was just like on the street. And so I ended up wearing that shirt to camp that year. And then I started dating Avery, and it was I Love My Mormon Girlfriend. And then we got engaged, and then the next year was I Love My Mormon Fiance. And we get married in May, and camp is in August, I believe August. So, people, if you can kind of follow that train, you might know what's coming next. And
people say love is dead. People say love is dead. I mean, come on. Are they dumb?
That's romance at its best there.
Yeah, that's very sweet. That's a sweet way to end the episode, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, full circle, full emotional circle podcast.
I mean,
awesome.
Well, if you guys get into like a fight or something and you want to make her mad, wear the Drive the Lane shirt.
Okay.
I'm gonna be in Columbus this weekend. This is releasing after I will be in Columbus, but I think we may or may not have an extra one. If we don't have an extra one, I'll send you one.
Okay.
So you will be able to represent it, but not promote it.
Yeah.
You're not promoting it. We're just friends, and so you're
Not promoted.
we're just friends.
representing.
Just friends.
Yes, 100%.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. This was a blast, and this is definitely not your last time on.
No, yes, this was awesome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks,
buddy.
man.
Have a good one. See you soon.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed those interviews. Thank you so much for listening to the Specialist episode. We'll be back next week, and we're going to recap a ton of Ohio State basketball because between now and the next time we record, Ohio State will play home versus Indiana, at Michigan, and at Wisconsin. That's going to be a good episode. We're going to talk hoops, which is our specialty. Make sure to head over to highstreettees.com/DTL and get our shirts. Promo code DTL15 for 15% off. Buckle up. Drive the lane.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buck IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.